Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is. Chapter 17, page 688, text 21 and 22. Text 21. A charity performed with the expectation of some return, or with the desire for fruitful results, or in a grudging mood, is said to be charity in the mode of passion. Purport. Charity is sometimes performed for elevation to heavenly kingdom, and sometimes with great trouble, and with repentance afterward. Why have I spent so much in this way? Charity is also sometimes given under obligation at the bequest of a superior. These kinds of charity are said to be given in the mode of passion. There are many charitable foundations which offer their gifts to institutions where sense gratification goes on. Such charities are not recommended in the Vedic scripture. Only charity in the mode of goodness is recommended. Text number 22. Adesha kale yadanam aptrevyascha diyate asatkritam abhigyatam tam tamasam udaritam. Word for word. Adesha, an unpurified place. Kale, an unpurified time. Yat, that which. Danam, charity. Upatrevya, to unworthy persons. Ta, also. Diyate, is given. Asat kritam, without respect. Vigyantam, without proper attention. That. Tamasam, in the mode of darkness. Daritam is said to be. Translation purport. Charity performed at an impure place, at an improper time, to unworthy persons, or without proper attention and respect, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Purport. Contributions for indulgence in intoxication and gambling are not encouraged here. That sort of contribution is in the mode of ignorance. Such charity is not beneficial. Rather, sinful persons are encouraged. Similarly, if a person gives charity to a suitable person without respect, without attention, that sort of charity is also said to be in the mode of darkness. Can you turn off your phone? Anybody has their phone on, turn off the phone. Om Agyanatvarandasya Sanatana Slakaya Lakshminamitam Sena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swaya Rupa Kadamayam Danti Swapadantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. You can sit there if you like. Charity performed at an impure place at an improper time to unworthy persons without proper attention and respect is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So this chapter is called Division of Faith. And from text 20, 21, and 22 talk about charity in the modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance. Now one time, Maharaj Yudhisthira let me say that Bhagavad Gita was translated in purport by Srila Prabhupada. Somehow or other, he managed to do this on 2nd Avenue in New York with the help of his fledgling disciples. So Prabhupada wanted to get the Bhagavad Gita published and printed. So one day, Brahmananda Prabhu said to Prabhupada that he had an appointment at the Macmillan Company. At that time, they had made a record album. They were selling the record album. And so Prabhupada said, when you go there, ask them to print the Bhagavad Gita. So Brahmananda was a little shocked. He didn't know what to think. So he went to the Macmillan Company to sell a record to a man, and turned out the man was in the accounts department. So I was talking to the man, another man came in who was one of the editors for the Macmillan Company, and somehow Brahmananda told him that we have a manuscript for the Bhagavad Gita. And the man said, "Oh, that's very good. We've been looking for an English translation of the Bhagavad Gita. So you bring it to us, we'll publish it." So this is how the Bhagavad Gita got published. That was in 1972. Before that, they had a Bhagavad Gita. That was abridged. It was smaller with less purports. The full Bhagavad Gita was not there. So this Bhagavad Gita Tarup is as it is. There are many translations of Bhagavad Gita. If you go in a bookstore, I don't know how many are there now, but there was one lady who came to Prabhupada and said, "Can you recommend the Bhagavad Gita for me to read?" This is before we published our Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada said, "No, I'm sorry, I can't. Because probably other people have translated the Bhagavad Gita, but they were personally motivated, so they couldn't give the proper interpretation. They weren't on the transcendental platform. They didn't really understand the Bhagavad Gita. The Prabhupada said, why are they sticking their nose in other people's business? They have no right. If you're not a devotee, you can't translate Bhagavad Gita in a proper way. So they give a speculative commentary, or Mayavadi commentary. So many different commentaries are there, but they don't make any sense. And then Brahmananda was reading the Bhagavad Gita, someone's Bhagavad Gita, so Prabhupada called him in his room and said, can you read the Bhagavad Gita? Read a couple pages. So he read a couple pages, then Prabhupada said, tell me what you read. And he couldn't say anything, he couldn't understand anything. So, well, it's even hard to understand. If you read other Bhagavad Gitas, that Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, who Krishna is, who Arjuna is, anything about the Bhagavad Gita, except for that it comes from India and it's a spiritual book. Otherwise, they don't understand. The Bhagavad Gita is part of the 5th chapter of Mahabharata. When they make a movie, Mahabharata movie, they they put the Bhagavad Gita in there, but Krishna is speaking the Bhagavad Gita, and then when Krishna shows Arjuna his universal form, that's the end of Bhagavad Gita. So they don't really understand the importance of Bhagavad Gita. So but the Bhagavad Gita is like a handbook. The Vedic literature is like a handbook. When you buy a certain type of machine, whatever it may be, it comes with a handbook, an instruction book. So this Vedic literatures are instruction books for human society and how people should live their lives. What is what and who's who. So, this section of Division of Faith deals with, we're dealing with charity, deals with austerity, sacrifice, austerity, and charity. Sacrifice, we know, was the Yuga Dharma in the Treta Yuga. In Satya Yuga, Yuga Dharma was meditation. In Treta Yuga, the Yuga Dharma was sacrifice. In Dwapara Yuga, the Yuga Dharma was deity worship. In Kali Yuga, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalo, Kaluna Stevana, Stevana, Steva, Tatiranyata. That the sacrifice of the Sankirtan Yajna, Sankirtan prayer, Jantihi Sumeda Shaha. This is the recommended sacrifice and the only one that can be practiced in Kali Yuga. So we hear about many in the Srimad Bhagavatam, different personalities performing sacrifices. Prithu Maharaj performed 99 horse sacrifices, and when he was about to perform the 100th horse sacrifice, Indra became worried that Maharaj Prithu would become too powerful and take his post. So Indra kept stealing the horse. So finally he stopped at 99. But Maharaj Prithu was a pure devotee of Krishna, Shaktabesha avatar, and he was performing the sacrifice for the pleasure of Krishna. In the same way, Maharaj Yudhisthira wanted to perform a sacrifice, the Rajasuya sacrifice, before the battle of Kurukshetra. So he had to have the sovereignty or the approval of all the kings in the world. So all the kings in the world were willing to allow the Maharaj Yudhisthira to perform a Rajasuya sacrifice. Only Jarasandha was not agreeable. So Krishna was in Dwarka, and he had asked to take advice from Uddhava. Uddhava was his friend, and gave him advice. So Uddhava said, you should go to Hastinapur, and then with you, Bhima, and Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna should go to Jarasandha and beg a duel with him and kill him, and then the Rajasuya sacrifice can go on. So that's the that was when the Rajasuya sacrifice was performed. Now austerities are there in the mode of passion, goodness, passion, and ignorance. People perform austerities. You see someone sitting in the sun with fire all around in the middle of the summer, or someone standing on his head with his head in the sand, or someone standing in cold water up to his neck. These austerities don't give one love of God. They simply make a heart hard. And people do these kind of things to get false prestige. One man over here didn't sit down for 20 years. He was standing, and he didn't talk. He didn't talk and he didn't sit down for 20 years. But only thing he got was sore feet. He didn't get any real benefit by doing that. And he became famous, and someone else took his place. So these kind of austerities are to torture the body, are not recommended. Austerities are there for devotees. We follow austerity by observing the appearance days and disappearance days of the great acharyas, and by also the appearance of Lord Krishna, appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and different incarnations. We fast on those days. Especially on Janmashtami, we fast till midnight. So this is austerity, but it's recommended in the Shastra. So any austerity that's undertaken by someone that's not recommended in the Shastra, they're doing it, they won't get the benefit because it's not in the mode of goodness. But austerities in the mode of goodness that are recommended in the Shastra are there pleasing to Krishna. So although it's difficult to fast till midnight on Janmashtami, we do that for the pleasure of Krishna. Krishna is pleased by that kind of austerity. So sacrifice austerities are there in the Krishna conscious movement. Rising early before 4 o'clock is an austerity. Most people, when we have kirtan, Mangalarti in any residential areas, they call the police and tell us because we're disturbing the peace, because they go to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're having kirtan at 4:30 in the morning, so they can't sleep. So ruining their sleep. But devotees are happy when we come to Krishna consciousness to rise early in the morning, 4 o'clock, take a cold bath. That's austerity, but it's pleasing. Devotees are happy to do that. Come to Mangalarti, have kirtan and take darshan of deities. But the outside people, they don't like that because they don't understand what we're doing. So we have to be a little cautious. If we're in the wrong place, we have to make our temple room soundproof, or don't use any instruments or something so we don't disturb the neighbors. But they don't see it as it's something, as spiritual life. They see it as simply as a disturbance. So the austerities are there, following the 4 regular principles: no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. This is also austerity. I mean, most people in this world, they can't believe we do such a thing. And the parents of the disciples, the parents of the devotees think so there's something wrong with us. The parents say, "What's wrong with you? You're not a drug addict anymore. You're not a womanizer anymore. You won't eat our cooking anymore. You're not going to movies anymore. What's wrong with you?" So they think there's something wrong with us, but we're not following their way of life. We developed a different lifestyle. So this is a austere lifestyle, but it's recommended in the Shastra, Guru Shastra, and Sadhu. According to Guru and Shastra and Sadhu, we perform our activities. So Srila Prabhupada gave us the sadhana to follow, the morning program. And Vaisheshika Prabhu, he wrote a book called Family Business. And he stressed the point that if you want to do service, book distribution or deity worship, whatever you're doing, that you should show up for the morning program. No exception. Everyone should show up for the morning program. Of course, there may be certain things that happen. You may get sick, or you maybe have a late night program, but on a regular basis, everybody must come to Mangalarti, chant their rounds, hear Srimad Bhagavatam class, attend the group, attend all the programs. This is a sadhana. We're following sadhana, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. And by doing this, it keeps us pure. So those who are distributing books or doing deity work, whatever service someone's doing, they can do it in a purified consciousness if they have a good sadhana. If someone doesn't have a good sadhana, it's a good chance that that person will eventually will leave Krishna consciousness. Many of our pujaris, they don't have good sadhana. They want to go to America because they think it's a dreamland, and they're going to be so happy when they go to America, and they'll get a green card and get a good job, make a lot of money. But when they get there, they say, "Oh, I made a mistake. I don't know why I came here. It's such a miserable place." And they can't make any money because they don't have any qualification, and it's too cold, and they can't go. So, but they had this idea that going to America was a beautiful place instead of staying in Vrindavan and doing service to Sri Krishna Balaram Gauranitai Radha Sundar. What could be more pleasing? So many devotees in the world would love to come here and do service, and the people that are serving here want to go to the Western countries where they have to suffer and are very much disappointed. So, so this is the nature, the Krishna conscious movement. We perform austerities. We live a very simple life. One should only accept Ishavasham Idam Sarvam. One should accept the basic necessities of life. One should not collect more than is required. And one should not eat more than required. One should not sleep more than required. You should just live a very simple life. And it's so much easier to live a simple life than have to get a job and work all day. And people nowadays in the big cities, they have to spend 2 hours in the traffic to get to work, and then they get to a job, they don't even like the job, and spend 8 hours in the job, and they have to spend 2 hours coming back from work every single day. But we're not doing that. So when we go out in book distribution, we go out in Harinam, sometimes people say, why don't you get a job? They think we're beggars. They think there's something where we should be like them. So, but we say, why don't you come and join us? We don't have to work so hard day and night just to get a little money, just to have some sense gratification, just to have a little sex life. One child was home from school one day, and he saw a man sleeping in the bed. He asked his mother, who's that man sleeping in the bed? The mother said, that's your father. Because the father had to go to work early in the morning before the child got up from sleep, and he came back late at night, so the child never even saw his father. So this is the result, that people work so hard day and night, but they don't get any real benefit. They're not really happy in life. And you can't be happy in the material world. Bhagailam Shastvatam. So, here we're talking about charity. Charity given in the mode of goodness to spiritual activities. Example of that charity was Rupa and Sanatana Goswami were forced into government service by the Muslims because the Muslims couldn't trust their own people. So they trusted the Hindus. So they forced Rupa and Sanatana Goswami to engage in government service. So they had changed their names. They took Muslim names, changed their dress, and were ousted from the Brahminical culture, Brahminical community. But they were Nityasiddha, devotees of the Lord, and when they met Lord Chaitanya, they decided they would retire from the government service. So when they did that, they divided their income. They gave 50% in charity to the Brahmins and to the devotees, to the temples. They kept 25% for 25% they gave to the family, and 25% they kept for emergency, because Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami knew they were going to have some difficulties, because the Nawab, the king at that time, was depending on them. So when they wanted to quit their job, he was going to give them trouble. So they had to keep some money for the emergency to solve their problem. And also, there was one king, his name was Nariga, and he was very charitably disposed. He gave as many cows as there are grains of sand on the earth, as there are drops of water in a rain cloud. So, he gave very much charity and in the mode of goodness to Brahmins. The charity should be given at the with discrimination, according to time, place, and circumstance, for spiritual perfection, either on the lunar eclipse day, charity should be given. When one goes on pilgrimage, which you can give charity to different temples. At the end of the month, one can give charity, and you can give charity to the devotees or to temples without any conditions. Sometimes people wanted to donate land to the society, but they made conditions. So Prabhupada wouldn't accept that. Said if you want to donate the land, then you can't make any conditions. You have to give it freely. So donations should be given freely. That's in the mode of goodness. But so the when Vasudeva, when Krishna took birth, and Mathura, Vasudeva, Krishna, his father wanted to give a charity, but Kamsa had stolen all his cows, so he didn't have any cows to give, so he gave charity in his mind. So these special days, on special occasions, charity should be given. And Bhaktisiddhanta told the disciples that they should give charity to the widows in Vrindavan. He said, if you don't give charity to the widows in Vrindavan, you'll become miserly. You won't want to give charity to Krishna either. So there's no harm in giving charity to worthy persons, but that's in the mode of goodness. Someone's wearing Vaishnava tilak, someone's a devotee, he needs some help, we can give charity. But so that charity in the mode of goodness. When Indra was fighting with Vrikashura, he couldn't defeat him, so they told Indra that you have to beg charity. Go to the Dachi and beg for his bones. Beg for his bones in charity. So he went to this person, because they said, you take his bones and make a thunderbolt weapon, and then you'll be able to defeat your enemy. So the Dachi agreed. At first he didn't agree to the proposal, but he's a self-realized soul, so he didn't mind giving his body in charity. So this was charity performed in the mode of goodness for a good cause. Maharishi was very charitably disposed, so one day a pigeon was being chased by a falcon, a big bird that wanted to eat the pigeon. So that pigeon landed on the king's lap, and the king's advisors said this is inauspicious. So you give the pigeon to the falcon. But the pigeon said, no, you should protect me. I'm your subordinate. So Maharishi said, okay, I'll give the falcon the flesh from my body that equals your weight. So they put the pigeon on the scale, and Maharishi started cutting off his flesh to give charity to save the pigeon's life. But it turned out that whatever amount of flesh he gave, it didn't equal to the pigeon, and finally he had put his whole body on the scale. So this was an example of a great devotee who was willing to give him his life in charity. When they were going to form the Rajasuya sacrifice, they decided that Arjuna, Bhima, and Krishna would dress up as brahmanas and go to Jarasandha and ask for charity. So they went to Jarasandha dressed as brahmanas, and Jarasandha, he couldn't recognize who they were, but they looked familiar to him, and he knew they weren't brahmanas because they had the markings of Kshatriyas. They had big, strong bodies, and they had markings of the bow on their shoulder, but they were dressed as brahmanas. So Jarasandha, although he was envious of Krishna and tried to fight with Krishna 17 times, he was defeated by Krishna, but still he was charitably disposed. So he said, okay, I know you're not brahmanas, but I'll give you whatever you want. I'll even give you my own body if you want that. But they said, no, this is Krishna, this is Arjuna, and this is Bhima, and we come here to beg charity, to beg a duel with you, to fight with you, because they had to kill Jarasandha to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, and the only way they could kill him was by single-handed combat. So Jarasandha laughed at them. He said they were fools, but he said, I'm not going to fight with Krishna because he's a coward. When I came to Mathura for the 18th time, he ran away and took shelter in the sea. And I'm not going to fight with Arjuna because he's not equal with me, but I'll fight with Bhimasena. So in this way, he fulfilled their request by fighting with Bhimasena. Bhimasena was able to kill him, so the Rajasuya sacrifice could go on. So people give charity in the mode of goodness, but then people give charity in the mode of ignorant, mode of passion, so they can go to the heavenly planets and enjoy sense gratification, or it says here sometimes the boss, people have a job, the boss makes it mandatory that everybody give a percentage of their salary for some charitable cause. So they have to do that even if they don't want to. And it says sometimes people give charity to institutions where people are having sense gratification. So this is not in the mode of goodness. So charity given in the mode of passion is never recommended in all cases, because it's not beneficial to the person that gives it or the person that receives it. And charity in the mode of ignorance is given at impure place, improper time, to an improper person, and without proper respect and attention. So this is also charity in the mode of ignorance. So we should not give charity to famous people, or it says people may give charity in the wrong way, and they may receive someone in their home, but not in the proper way. So this is also considered a mode of ignorance, without respect and attention. So charity is not forbidden. Charity is to be given. There's 4 ashrams, 4 varnas, 4 ashrams. brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. So the brahmachari and the vanaprastha and the sannyasis don't have to give charity, but the grihasthas do. Grihasthas should read the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapters, the end of chapters 7 to 11, or 11 to 15. 11 to 15, it talks about ideal household life. So charity is one of the items that is obligatory for a householder, that he has to give charity, especially he should sponsor prasadam distribution. This is the proper kind of charity to be given. To sponsor book distribution, sponsor prasadam distribution. These things are will benefit the person and will benefit whatever you give to Krishna, you get back 10 million times. You give $100 to Krishna, you'll get back $10 million in the future. So you get a spiritual bank account. We have a spiritual bank account, and that goes with the soul, wherever it goes. So your spiritual bank account will increase if you give charity at the proper time, proper place, and to the proper person. So, but if you give charity to the wrong person, you won't get the proper benefit. Charity to people do Bhagavad Saptaha or Bhagavad Gita. For 7 days they speak the Bhagavatam, but this is not bona fide, and the speaker gets a lot of money, and this is also an offense to the Bhagavatam. If someone's speaking Bhagavatam, he should speak not ask for any money or not expect any money. This is the proper way that one should speak the Bhagavatam without any aitakiya pratiyata, unmotivated, uninterrupted. So there are many such things going on all over the world. Bhagavad Gita, and people go there and give a lot of money and spend a lot of money to have such programs, but they're not in the mode of goodness. They don't benefit the people. People hear Bhagavad Gita for 7 days, but it doesn't change their life, it doesn't change their heart. They go on with their sinful activities. And then there are many bogus gurus in the world, people who are saying they're acting as gurus or claiming to be incarnations of God, but they also accept charity from so many people and have a lot of money and have a lot of followers and are famous, but this is also in the mode of ignorance, not in the mode of goodness. So in all cases, one should discriminate how one gives charity. There are people begging all over the place. Vrindavan, when you go to Barshana, you go to Nanagram, wherever you go, people are asking for money. And selling sadhu and wearing Vaishnav tilak and living in the holy dham, there's no harm in giving charity to those kind of people. Other people are just greedy for money and don't want to do anything for you. They just want your money. It's like you go to Gokul, the men, they won't open the temple unless you give them a donation. So this is not proper activity, a proper way to act. But willingly, if someone You go to some place and they treat you nicely, and you have nice darshan, they give you prasadam, and you don't mind giving them a donation. We don't say we shouldn't give donations. You should give donations, but you should give with discrimination. We shouldn't give beggars on the street. They just want some money to buy beaties or buy chai or whatever. We don't have to give donations to those kind of people. But there are others who are just simply poor people with Vaishnav tilak just sitting in one place. Then you can give them a few rupees. There's no harm in doing that. In either case, charity is part of our society. Prabhupada said in Mayavadis, when people want to give charity to Mayavadis, they go, no, like this. But when people want to give charity to our movement, we go like this, because we are going to use that money to spread Krishna consciousness, not for our sense gratification. So whatever charity is given to the temple should be used for that purpose. And if someone gives charity to the deities, but if it's misused, then that person says in the 11th canto, if you take the property of the deity, then you have to go to hell. So it's a very serious offense. If someone gives something to the deity, no one should take that on their own. You should be very careful about that. Whatever people give to the deities should go to the deities. Whatever people give should go for that purpose, not any other purpose. So these are two verses that have very short purports, and they talk about giving charity in the mode of passion, giving charity in the mode of ignorance. So charity given out of duty, without expectation of return, at the proper time and place, to a worthy person, is considered to be in the mode of goodness. So this we already talked about, and what we should follow. But charity performed with expectation of some return, with the desire for fruit of results in a grudging mood, said to be in the mode of passion. And charity performed at an impure place, at improper time, to unworthy persons, without proper attention and respect, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So in all cases, the modes of nature are there, and most people in the world, let's say 99.9% of the people, are not devotees and don't know anything about modes of nature. They think everything's just one, and just society is just going on the way it is. Everything's okay the way it is. But Bhagavad Gita tells us different, and the devotees have this understanding that there is a mode of passion, tamagun, rajagun, and sattvagun, and these modes are there and are influencing us all the time. But by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. When the Lord Chaitanya was in Puri, Jagannath Puri, the residents of Kaliyagram asked him how you can identify a Vaishnava. So Lord Chaitanya said, one who chants the Hare Krishna mantra one time, he's considered a Vaishnava. So this means that this has to be clarified, that one chants with faith in the holy name without offenses, that person is a Vaishnava. Not someone who chants neglectfully or chants one time and then goes out and smokes a bidi. He's not getting the same benefit. And they asked him a second time, who's a Vaishnava? He said one who is always chanting the holy name. And they asked him a third time, who's a Vaishnava. He said when other people see that person, they also chant the holy name. So this is Kanista Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. 3 levels of devotees, and the Uttama Adhikari is in the mode of pure goodness. So if we chant the holy name purely without offense, we can also come to the Shuddha Sattva, the pure goodness, and get released from the bondage of the modes of material nature. Durga Devi is in charge of the material world. Her name means Durga means fort, and its conditioned soul is bound up in the fort or trapped in the material world by the 3 modes of material nature. So the only way to get released from that fort is by performing devotional service and purely chanting the holy name. And when Durga sees that someone wants to get out of the material world, she will help you. If she sees that you want to disturb Krishna, you don't want to serve Krishna, then she'll keep you in the material world. So we have independence, we have free will to choose whether we want to stay in the material world under the influence of 3 modes of material nature and take birth again and again in the 8,400,000 species, or whether we want to get out of the material world. It's your choice. We have this independence. So we should not misuse our independence. We try to perfect our lives and go back to Godhead in this life and not have to take birth again. I'll stop there. Any questions, comments? Yes, he has a question.
I have one question. You brought up one quote about not giving the widows at like Radhakund, Barcelona, Nandagan, not giving them daksha, charity. So
No, you got it wrong. I said Bhaktisiddhanta has told they should give charity to the widows in Vrindavan.
That's what I'm saying. So sometimes there's just so many of them, and I have an experience personally that once I gave 1 to 1, I had such a big crowd around me, and it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. I had people pulling on my arms. I had people I thought that were ready to hit me. I had one older.
So what's your question?
I had one older bro hit me right in the head because I didn't give him enough. So my question is, do we have time, place, and circumstance when it comes to like giving?
What's that?
Time, place, and circumstance.
Yeah.
You know, like if there's,
No, we don't have to give charity to greedy people. Those kind of people are just greedy. So they see white skin, they know that they see dollar signs.
Right. And
So
they
those
don't
are
know that
greedy
I'm a
people.
brahmachari and I don't earn money. They don't see that. They don't have that vision. So they only see my skin, really.
I know. So it's better to avoid such things, such places. To give in, the same thing happens at Radhakund. You give one person charity, then they all come running to get something. So we just avoid it. We want to give charity to proper persons at the proper place, proper time. You have to discriminate.
Yeah. Sometimes it just feels right, It feels like Krishna's saying, that this could benefit both parties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.